homicide case in Florida with ties to Kentucky. Now, on July 19th of 1972, her body was found in the area of High Corner Road and Cortez Boulevard in Brooksville, Florida. Now, at that time, detectives believed she had recently traveled to the area from either North Florida or Alabama. She was found wrapped in a bedspread with a distinctive pattern. Over the years, the cold case was still investigated, but no new leads were developed. In October of 2022, the victim that was known as Jane Doe finally had a name: Peggy Joyce Shelton from Kentucky. Her identity was confirmed by Othram Labs in Kinship report a month later. New technology called forensic investigative genetic genealogy is making it possible for police to ID people in cold cases, missing people, and human remains. It's helped identify missing people and catch criminals across the country, like the case of Peggy Joyce Shelton. Reporter Kristen Crowley has more on the impact this technology is having in solving yesterday's mysteries and today's crimes.
Across the country, hundreds of thousands of people are missing. For 40 years, Jack Langeneckert,
very handsome man, loved the good life, dressed impeccably,
was one of those people.
At the time, we thought that he probably ran away somewhere. We never did hear from him.
Russ Marty is Jack's nephew.
What do you remember from the day that Jack disappeared?
I remember my mom and my grandma going absolutely bonkers. I mean, they were really upset.
The only thing investigators ever found was Jack's car, abandoned at St. Louis Lambert Airport. He was reported missing, but as the years dragged on without a trace of the 50-year-old realtor, the family stopped talking about Jack. Then, in 2023, Russ got a call from detectives. They wanted his DNA to test against some human remains.
Those decades-old unidentified human remains cases are what we specialize in.
In 2022, the Lincoln County, Missouri Sheriff's Office sent the unknown remains to Southeast Missouri State University anthropology professor Jennifer Bankston and her students, relying on them to extract viable DNA for testing.
My students' testing indicated that we had some really good candidate bone samples to send off to the lab that we love to work with, Othram in Texas.
Othram is a leader in what's known as forensic investigative genetic genealogy, or FIG. Othram has used FIG to solve all of these cases, giving names to men and women, even children, across the country.
What was your reaction when you got the DNA results back?
I knew it was him. I was totally convinced that that was my uncle that they found.
It turns out Jack never got on a plane. He never even left the state. In 1984, 2 years after his disappearance, his body was found in an old farm building in rural Missouri, just 1 hour from his home. His body was so badly decomposed, detectives couldn't determine who he was. His identity likely would have remained a mystery were it not for cutting-edge technology.
Your family felt closure in one respect of knowing now that Jack didn't just up and abandon his family.
Right, they felt better about that.
But there's more to this story.
Right.
The mystery of where Jack was finally solved, but there was another mystery, a much more sinister one. Jack was murdered, shot in the back of the head. The question now is, who killed him? And the answer could once again lie with FIG.
They found me, so who knows? Maybe they'd be able to find him.
It's amazing. Researchers want to stress if you use Ancestry DNA or 23andMe, they cannot access those databases for FIG. You have to upload your DNA profile voluntarily to sites like GED, Match, and Family Tree DNA, which investigators can access, leading them to solve these mysteries. Right now in Brooksville, Florida, the cold case homicide of Peggy Joyce Shelton is still being investigated. Anyone with information is asked to contact Detective George LaJordan at 352-754-6830.